welcome to Four Stands Up. My name is Rod Gilbert. I am your host and compere for this evening. Why are you making notes? Are you making notes just about this evening, or is this a lifestyle choice? Are you really making notes? Are you a stalker? This late weirdo's friends? Is she a stalker?
I don't know, she followed us.
You don't know she followed you here. Yeah, that was very quick and very clever, but technically wrong. Has anybody tried stalking? Am I the only one who's tried it? No, I don't recommend... I tried it, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like stalking. Your life's not your own when you're stalking people. It's true, just once in the whole time I was stalking people, it just would have been nice if we could have done what I wanted to do. Always got to fit around them, haven't you? It's true, you go to the cinema, it's always the films they want to see. It's true, if you are going to stalk somebody, choose who you stalk carefully. That's my advice to you back there. There's a lot of strange people out there. I'll stalk some right loonies. In fact, if you are going to stalk somebody, you've got somebody in mind, my advice, follow them for a few months first. Just on a trial basis, see if you're compatible, see if you've got the same interests. It's true, there's nothing worse than stalking somebody when you've got nothing in common. You ring them up in the middle of the night, it's awkward silences, it's terrible. I remember I was stalking this one girl once, so we had nothing in common. She was really into reality TV, do you know, all that stuff, the I'm a Celebrity and Big Brother, and she was really into it, you know. I hated it. I used to be outside in the garden, you know. Freezing cold, my nose pressed up against the window, trying to see what was going on, you know, and I'd be bored out of my mind night after night. It's not entertainment, that stuff, is it? It's just voyeurism, most of it. So it's a lonely life being a stalker as well. My advice, always try and stalk somebody who's already stalking somebody else. And then they might be stalking somebody else. I got lucky once, I was in a chain of 11. I had this little minibus. I had some lovely days out, Alton Towers. Even had a Sunday League football team on the go for a while. Oh, some good players, and then one of us would go for the ball, we'd all bloody go, it was hopeless. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to welcome the first wonderful act of tonight's show? Yeah! Give it up, welcome him all the way to the stage, the wonderful, the remarkable Mr. Miles Jupp.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. My name's Miles Jupp. I'm not particularly aggressive. It's probably fair to say. Once in my life, I've been mistaken for an aggressive comedian. I did a gig in Leeds a few years ago. In itself, madness. I don't know what I was thinking. I did this. I was comparing, and I came out, and a man hurled abuse at me from the beginning of the gig right to the end. And I was a bit shaken by it. And the man that booked the gig came backstage afterwards. He said, "I'm sorry about the audience tonight. Weren't very many of them, but we can afford to pay you because we did very well on the drugs this weekend." So I thought, you know, this is classy enough. And I was waiting for my taxi in the foyer, and a bouncer came up to me and he said, "Miles, that man that was heckling you all evening, he's waiting outside." And I said, "Oh, right, what should I do?" And he said, "Well, I've turned the CCTV off, so you can have a swing at him if you like." Completely misreading the situation. It has to be... If anything, I'd have needed it kept on, so I had evidence to use in court. I was up in Edinburgh this August, and I saw the most fantastic piece of argument in the street. I get very excited by this sort of thing. Any kind of sort of rough altercation excites me. Not to want to be involved, but, you know, just it raises the pulse. I was walking down the street in Edinburgh, and suddenly I heard this argument ahead of me. I looked up, there was this quite smartly dressed lady arguing with a taxi driver. And just as I got near her, she suddenly went back to the taxi and banged on the window, and he wound down the window. And this lady said to the taxi driver, "I'll have you know, young man, I own 3 properties in this city. I bet you still live in rented accommodation." That is undeniably a sophisticated piece of banter, isn't it? For a city centre Friday night argument. It would, you know, a proper middle-class piece of argument. That it very much reminded me of my home life. I do come from a very middle-class family. My parents are very keen welders, but it's just a hobby. They used to have the most incredibly verbose arguments when I was young. I absolutely thrived. I used to love hearing voices getting raised downstairs. I remember once hearing them getting angry and angry downstairs, and I rushed downstairs, and I poked my head around the door, and my father was shouting at my mother, "Elizabeth, the mess I made with the coal scuttle in the drawing room was purely pictorial." That's him in a blind rage. Yeah. Beautiful to witness. There's a recession on, obviously. Must be terrible for the people involved. It does sort of seem to have been caused by the news, doesn't it? You know, you're sitting at home and everyone's panicking. Are they? I've not even left the flat. Right, I must start panicking as well. You know, I sort of hate the news for that kind of reason. I find the news a very weird thing in this country, not least because people have started texting the news. You know, I don't understand why do the news? Why do they ask us to text them? You're the news. What does it matter? Tell us what you think. What do you mean, tell us what does it matter what we think? You're the news. You tell us the facts. We think about them. Nothing happens. That's the way... Tell us how far is that going to know? Well, over to the weather now. Peter Cockcroft, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow? Oh, never mind what I think the weather's going to be like tomorrow. I'm just a trained meteorologist. What do the people at home think the weather's going to be like tomorrow? Do you think it's going to be rainy where you live or sunny? Send us a text, for heaven's sake. It's ludicrous. How demeaning, frankly, for them to keep demanding things off. You know, send us your pictures and videos. No, you've got a building full of newsgirls. Why don't they fill the sodding news? Would that be so awful? Don't tell us that we all need a high-definition digital television if all you're going to show us is stuff that people have shot on their mobile phones. I don't understand how people arrive at opinions so quickly. How do people, you know, what do you think about so-and-so? I think this. How did you even do that? Do you know what I mean? I'm one of life's floating voters. I really am. If you ask me if I want a biscuit with my cup of tea, that's 7 minutes of the day gone. Do you know? You know, if I go into a shop or something and there isn't someone behind the counter, even if there's a bell, I don't even think to ring it. I thought, well, I can't just ring. I mean, presumably they wouldn't just leave the counter for no reason. They can't suddenly become disillusioned with the shopkeeping process. I'll ring it. No, what if they're in the stack room? What if I ring the bell? It distracts them. They hit their head on a shelf or something. I'll just leave. That seems to be the easiest thing. But I sometimes, though, you meet these people, they just know what to do in any situation. It's amazing. I checked into a hotel in Glasgow once with my friend Paul, and we checked in. We went into the bar there, and there was a man and a woman in there. He was behind the bar serving the drinks, and she was sitting there drinking. And we sat down with them, a bit of small talk, chatting, that sort of thing. And after a while, I thought, there's something going on with this man. He seems very upright, bit of a story here. Now, I'm quite the conversationalist. So I said to him, how long have you been a barman for? And he said, I'm not a barman, I'm a padre in the RAF. And I said, why are you serving the drinks then? He said, well, my wife and I came in here 45 minutes ago, didn't seem to be anyone about, so I thought, right, I better do it. Now, what I look over the bar, there is a pad of paper. He's written down the number of drinks everyone's had and a little pile of money next to it. I was going, well, how do you even know what to charge for the beer? And he goes, well, I don't, to be honest. It's all subsidised on the base, but I just thought £1.50 a pint. That seems reasonable. I was going, that's stealing, isn't it? He goes, well, you're accessories to theft, aren't you? That's what you've been paying for half an hour. I was going, well, how on earth do you know? They hadn't that fantastic sort of military calm. You know, confidence is half the battle. I can't imagine that's official military advice, obviously. You know. Sorry that the guns are all jammed, chap. The main thing is positive body language. It just seems extraordinary. He's one of those people, you can sort of imagine him walking past the scene of an accident, some poor victim lying stricken on the ground. Everyone else is panicking, and he just barges his way through going, right, tracheotomy! Are you a doctor? No, but I've got a biro. How hard can it be? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Miles Jupp. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up to Mr. Miles Jupp! Oh, dear. Anyway, what was I going to talk about? I'll tell you what I was going to talk about. Has anyone here been to Afghanistan? It's a serious question. Has anyone been to Afghanistan? No, because I was out there. I go out to entertain the troops, and they wind you up. You know, you go out there and they wind you up a lot. You don't know what to believe in the end because you're quite scared when you go there, and they tell you things that some of these things are true and some of them aren't. You know, they give you these scare stories of things, and I still don't know what to believe whenever I go out there. And the last time I was there, we arrived in Kabul, you see, and the first thing I did was I went to switch my phone on. In Kabul, on the airfield, and movers, they call them, these logistics people in the army. And I still don't know if this is true, but I went to switch my phone on, and this lady, this mover, the army person, screamed at me across the tarmac. She said, you there, turn your phone off! What are you doing? Do not turn that phone on! Whatever you do, do not turn that phone on! And she said, did you turn your phone on? I said, no! I had. said, turn your phone off, what are you doing? I said, why? She said, because the Taliban are in the foothills, in the mountains around this airfield. And if you so much as turn your phone on, they have such sophisticated equipment these days that they know exactly where you are. And I said, I was just going to ring my mum. No, tell her I'm safe. She'll be worried. She'll be concerned. I was going to tell her I've arrived. Kabul, she said, whatever you do, don't do that. Whatever you do, don't ring anybody, because if you ring somebody, then not only do they know where you are, but the Taliban can access the numbers that you've dialed. And the Taliban will ring your mother. And I thought, let them bloody ring her. Because they'll hang up before she does, I promise you that much. Unless they've got an unhealthy interest in next door's new caravan, they're going to hang up before she does. And they would regret it the following Sunday and every Sunday after that when they're trying to watch the Vicar of Dibley and she rings up in the middle of it. Who is it? Is Mrs. Gilbert? Who, the one with the caravan? You remember? How did she get her number? She must have done 1471. I don't know. Tell her I'm in the bath. We live in a cave, you idiots. She's mental. She's gone to get the cat. Oh. Taliban would ring my mother. She's a typical Welsh mother. They wouldn't get a word in edgeways. I tell you what, they'd have to have a bumper opium crop to pay for that phone call. Sure, they'd be stoning themselves after a couple of hours, I imagine. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for your next act? Yeah! Welcome them all the way to the stage. It's Ginger and Black.
Hi, we're Ginger and Black because... we're going to open with a song designed to warm you up so that you're more receptive to the rest of our material. It's about hopes, dreams and aspirations, and there's also some bits about death. Hopes, dreams, aspirations, hopes, dreams, aspirations. Saw my neighbour Mr. Jones, aged 83, clutching his hat and falling to his knees. I didn't run to help him because I didn't want to be patronising, but it felt sad knowing that he'd never achieved his hopes, dreams, aspirations, hopes, dreams, aspirations.
He had nothing in his house, nothing on his shelves. Nothing to remember him by, nothing we could flog.
Not even hopes, dreams, aspirations, hopes, dreams, aspirations. Around where I'm from, they call me Optimus Prime because I quit my job and transformed my life. They also call me Care Bear because I care a lot about my hopes, dreams, aspirations. They also call me Carey or Softy Bear or Sponge, not because I'm soft, but because I pawn soft people. Hopes, dreams, aspirations, hopes, dreams, aspirations, hope, H-O-P, dreams, D-R-A-M-S, aspirations, A-S-P-R-A-N-S, hopes, dreams, aspirations, hopes, dreams, aspirations.
I wanted a hamster. I got one. Hopes, dreams,
aspirations, hopes.
I remember back at school, me and my mate Pete wanted metal plates in our heads so we could pretend to be robots. They said that those were for victims of car crashes. So we were. Sorted. Well, Pete's dead though and I can't go near microwaves.
Hopes, dreams, aspirations, hopes, dreams, aspirations. Everybody here who believes in hopes and dreams, sing la la. No. La la. No. La la. No. La la. Acceptable. Hopes, dreams and aspirations, hopes and dreams and aspirations, hopes and dreams and aspirations. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. That was quite amazing. I guess it's because we're quite inspiring people. We're not like street preachers.
We're a bit like Jesus, but not as commercial.
Yeah.
We do a lot of charity work, like we hand out leaflets with our songs. Some of our songs are about integrating and stuff like that. We're not exclusive. We hand these leaflets out to deaf people, people that can't walk, blind people. I mean, we don't do Braille, but the paper's quite thick, so they can tell it's quite important. And they're really about these interpersonal skills that we're going to teach to you guys.
Interpersonal skills, we've got interpersonal skills. Me saying hello to you, that's an interpersonal skill. You saying hello back, that's an interpersonal skill. Sorry, that's where you all say hello. Cheers, thanks. Can I just highlight that you slow down the song just a little bit?
Interpersonal skills. Internet, interpersonal skills, lol, x, colon, 0, close brackets.
What's that?
Happy face. Interpersonal skills. Interpersonal empathy, show what it means to have sympathy. Hey there, I heard you've been down, heard you feeling lost since you lost your gran. I know how you feel, I once lost a sleeping bag. Interpersonal skills. I mean, I found it again, it was in your nan's room. Not saying she's a thief or anything, but maybe her death was karma. Interpersonal skills.
Chatting up ladies that you don't know, that's an interpersonal skill. Hey there, lady, what's your name? Oh, my name is Catherine, I'm from Chancery Lane. Oh, Catherine, that's a really nice name. I had a dog named Catherine, we had to put her down because she had worms.
Interpersonal skills.
So I went to the pet shop to buy a new dog to teach interpersonal skills. Sit down, lie down, roll over and go to your basket, go get some water, turn off the TV and dance for me. I said, dance for me. I said, dance for me. I said, dance for me! I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. Well, it's not like you can tell anyone.
Interpersonal skills. Don't worry, he wasn't a real dog, he was a mongrel. Interpersonal skills. So you're probably wanting a song about jogging now. Good. Where have you been, son? Why are you looking so tired and worn and weary?
I've been for a run, Mom.
Where have you been, son? Why's Mr. Windy been sweeping through your hair?
I've been for a run, Mom.
Where have you been, son? Why your snowdrop eyelids so heavy?
What, are you deaf? I said I went for a run, you fat cow. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Ginger and Black! Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for your next act? Yeah! Give it up the wonderful Mr. Justin Moorhouse! Hello! Here we are in London, I like it here, we're in Greenwich, I like the place, I don't like the people, I think the world revolves around them. Thought of that on a train, that's alright, that works, I don't know. Yeah, it's nice to be here, I say that genuinely, comedians say that, don't they? It's nice to be here. I genuinely mean it. The other night I was doing a gig in Burnley. So when I say it's nice to be here, I really mean it. Have you been to Burnley? If you haven't, don't. Honestly. It's terrible. I did this gig, and this is why I will never pick on the audience, right? Sometimes comedians will come on and it's quite easy tonight, isn't it? Look at it. Sometimes you can do a gig and it can go wrong. I was doing a gig the other night and in Burnley, and this woman sat right in the front row. Let me just tell you right from the top, massive, huge, a behemoth, prehistoric. You could see a tusk. One or two of you looking at me, and I'll say it for the benefit of the radio listening audience, I'm quite a big lad. But it's all right. There are two sets of fat people in this world. There are people like me, happy-go-lucky, I'll probably be dead before I'm 40. Pass me a pie, yeah? And there's the other sort, isn't it? Women. Now, not all women
in. There's a big woman sat right at the front. I thought I'd say hello, I'm from the north of England. I'm dead friendly. I went, hiya, love, what's your name? And she went, Tony. I panicked a little. It's a bloke's name, yeah. I pointed this out. I went, that's a bloke's name. And she went, no, Tony with an I, Tony with an I. And that's when I went, I'm not proud of this. That's tiny, and you're clearly not, are you, love? Yeah. You seem to enjoy it more than she did, to be honest with you. I am from the north of England. It doesn't define me. It's what I am. I've got people from Manchester. Oh dear. It's hard when you've got people in from Manchester, because I love living in Manchester, I'm proud to come from there, but generally as an audience, we're quite rubbish. We're miserable. People in Manchester, you've won the lottery. I'll only spend it. You've got cancer. It's my own fault, I suppose. People in Manchester, we're all the same thing, and you know, we're always telling you how great it is in Manchester. When you come to Manchester, we'll tell you how great it is now. We've got flats everywhere that nobody's buying, just the same as you. And people will say the same thing. And you know the reason why it's all been done up and it's lovely is because we had the IRA planting the largest mainland bomb ever. And people say now, 10 years later, you know what? That bomb, best thing that could have ever happened to us. Yes, now, in retrospect, it's fantastic. Try telling up to them poor sods running down Deansgate a decade ago, fearing for their lives. Quick, we're going to die! It's all right, think of the regeneration. It'll be marvellous. Wherever you look, there'll be coffee shops, and that's it. That's all we've got now, is we've got the world's largest Marks and Spencers, because that's what we need, more knickers in the world, and coffee shops everywhere. You've had them in London for years, and we've got them now. We're idiots. We're from the north. We're impoverished, and yet we are paying £3.50 for a brew. The world has gone mad. We happily pay £3.50. We go in there and pay. If your nanas would find out collectively, they would go crazy. If your nanas would find out, you could get Gold Blend for £3.50 a jar. And whilst I'm getting angry, when did Panini stop making sticker albums and start charging us £3.50 for a cheese and ham toastie? Wasn't like when I was a kid, you go shopping with your mums and dads, it was different, wasn't it? You go shopping with your mums and dads, it was always the same. You never do anything. You just sit in the back of the car like that for 3.5 hours every Tuesday in Asda like that. What, your mum and dad bought the same thing they bought every single week, because you had the same tea every single night. And I used to say, I said, you know, next week, why don't we buy 2 of everything, then we can have a week off? And my dad went to hit me, but my mum went, oh, that's a good idea, so he hit her, but it was all right. It was the 1970s, have you not seen Life on Mars? It was all right. And every week we'd pull up and we'd sit in the back of his Allegro, and my dad would get out, right, and he'd open the back door, because we had a Vanden Plas. I'm not showing off. And he'd say, I'm telling you once, you don't get out of the back of this car. Do you understand? To be honest with you, you're frightening me, Dad. I'll tell you again. You don't touch anything in the front of this car. Do I make myself clear? You just turned into Lee Van Cleef, I'll be honest with you. And he'd walk off, and me and my brother would sit there, and we'd give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we'd jump in, and we'd play with everything. The steering wheel, the windscreen wipers, trying. Nothing worked, because the ignition was not on, but we'd have a right laugh. And then we'd look in the mirror, and we'd go, Jesus, coming back, and we'd get back in, and we'd sit there like that. While he put everything back in that he bought. Clunk, clunk, and he'd come round, and he'd open the back door, and he'll say, I'll ask you once. Did either we had no lint truss in those days. Touch anything in the front of this car?
No, I think I just had a little sleep or something, I can't remember.
I'll ask you again. By this point, our kid sat in his own urine, right? He'll walk around to the front. Every week was the same. He'd sit down, he'd turn the ignition, the windscreen wipers would go in, a door falls off, a clown runs past with a bucket of confetti. Nightmare. It's nice to see so many smiling faces despite the credit crunch. You know what? And I'm not an economic specialist. I'm not an economic specialist, but I can tell you this. The reason we have a credit crunch in this country is because we don't make anything. And I can prove it. I can prove it by telling you this. You watch daytime television for half a day and you will not see an advert for anything made in Britain anymore. All the adverts are people showing off about the fact they've got the right to buy a council house, borrowing money they can't afford and pretending to have accidents they've not had. You've seen these adverts, the bloke in the orange jacket sweeping up outside the church. I've got the right to buy my council house. What are you telling me for? I'm waiting for Columbo. I couldn't care less. No, you don't understand. I've got the right to buy my council house. Well, mate, you live in Burnley. Here's a fiver, buy at the street. I couldn't care less. It's not that. It's people pretending to have accidents they've not had. And these people are not having these many accidents. They're not. They're not. If everybody was having the accidents that they're telling us on the telly, this whole country would be a Norman Wisdom film. You could walk around the corner and somebody go, "Oh, Mr. Grimsdale," it wouldn't happen. On my first day in a new job, my new boss asked me to pick up a weight which was far too heavy for me. Tell him to get stuffed. If your new boss is asking you to pick up a weight that says Acme 8 tons, the chances are you're working for Wile E. Coyote. There are no long-term prospects in that job, are they? What's day 2 going to be? Paint a false entrance onto that mountainside. I was driving the Chattanooga Express through the Nevada deserts. On my first day in a new job, I badly damaged my back because I was installing a security alarm system using the wrong type of ladder. Forgive me this one. The wrong type of ladder? What country is this? What ladders go up and down? What kind of ladder was he on? I was on the ladder, I stepped off onto the snake's head, all the way down to square 2. I was walking through the factory, carrying a bucket of hot tar in flip-flops. I don't know why I work in a fish finger factory in Grimsby. Thank you very much. Good night. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to 4 Stands Up on Radio 4. You have heard Mr. Miles Jupp, Ginger and Black, Justin Moorhouse. I've been Rod Gilbert. The producer is Salusha Galani. Thank you very, very much and see you next week.